What's up millennials again, part 2. This week we're going to be talking all about dermal fillers. So maybe you're thinking about having dermal fillers done for the first time, you're noticing that your face is starting to sag, you're losing some volume, the skin looks a little bit dull, yada yada, you want to do something to improve your appearance. You've heard about this stuff called dermal filler, but you're not very sure what it is or what it can do, and is it safe? Look no further, I'm going to answer your questions. When we say dermal filler, we are typically referring to hyaluronic acid. So this would be something like Restylane, Juvederm, Belotero, TSL, Stillage. However, there are other types of filler out there. What you have available depends on your country. For example, over here, we're going to have Sculptra or Lanluma, which is polyol-lactic acid. We're going to have Radiesse, which is calcium hydroxyapatite. We're going to have Elance, which is polycaprolactone. There are other types of filler available, but there are ones that I have not used. For example, fillers based on alginate or horse remnants, but I have never used them, so I'm not going to be talking about them. Both of them sound like a bad idea. Within each hyaluronic acid dermal filler portfolio, you're going to have different strengths of filler. So you'll have some which are really thin, which are more for hydrating the skin and you inject those superficially. Some which are much thicker and they're used for creating and sculpting the face, like cheekbones, chins, jawlines, that kind of thing. Different countries will have different products available, but you will find some that are consistently available throughout most markets, like Juvederm, for example, Restylane, TSL. Okay, so you're having filler for the first time. Is it gonna hurt? Great question, glad you asked. So it kind of depends. It depends on the area that you're injecting. When you have a lip injection performed, that can be a little bit sore. So some people will use a topical numbing cream or a dental anesthetic before you have the treatment. Even when it comes to topical numbing creams, there are going to be different strengths of numbing creams available. If you're going to use something which is a 4% lidocaine, it's not that strong. There are other brands available which are like up to 23%. So personally, if I'm going to do a lip and someone wants to have a topical cream, I'd rather just use the higher strength. I just want to add as well that the vast majority of hyaluronic acid dermal fillers will have lidocaine inside the filler as well, which makes it a lot more comfortable post-treatment. For other areas, it's likely that you won't need to have any numbing cream at all. For example, the temple, relatively painless, jawline, relatively painless, cheek, again, relatively painless. Weirdly, the under eye doesn't hurt that much either. You're at much higher risk of bruising from a dermal filler than you are from having Botox. This is because the needle is much wider, because filler is a gel, it's particulate. Botox is liquid, it's just like water, like saline when you inject it, so you can use a much slimmer needle. You're also going to have more swelling when you have filler, and that swelling will be a lot more persistent than it would be for Botox. Typically with Botox it's gone after about 20 minutes. With filler it can go on for days, if you're unlucky sometimes even weeks. If you do get bruising, unlucky. No, but seriously, you can use bromelain and arnica to help to minimize bruising. Ice isn't going to help once you've got a bruise, but it will help to take down swelling more quickly. You may be able to use IPL or certain types of laser in order to break up any bruising more quickly. But it's really just one of those things, you know, you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs sometimes. I just want to show you an example of the swelling that you get after filler. Here's some lip filler. This treatment was performed in collaboration with a YouTuber, Hazelwood. You can see her before, after, and 1 week after treatment. These are obviously photos that she's taken herself. As you can see, it's normal to have this swelling post-treatment. In fact, we even made a cute little lip filler gif about swelling, because people always freak out about having their lips done. The swelling is often a bit more pronounced in the lip than you would find elsewhere in the face. That's just because it's your lip. Another thing that we used to hear more, but not so much now, is when the swelling had gone, people would often mistakenly think that the filler had gone, but actually it's just the swelling that's gone, it's not the filler. The filler's not going anywhere for a good few months. I just want to show you as well, Dr. Kish, he had his jawline treated, so we used Radiesse for this. And you can see with Radiesse, there is this quite pronounced inflammatory process immediately after treatment. However, that does resolve quite quickly. I'd say it's mostly gone within about 3 days. And by the way guys, this is really important because a lot of the images that you see on Instagram, on social media, will be taken immediately after treatment. So when you see somebody whose treatment has just been done, it will often look a lot more pronounced than it does do in real life after 1 or 2 weeks. And personally, I find it kind of a little bit disingenuous when people put their immediate after pictures up and don't wait for a week or two. The vast majority of the pictures that we post are always taken at least 2 weeks after the treatment has been done, when everything has settled down, because these really sharp jaw lines that you see, they're just swelling. That's not really how it looks when all the swelling has gone. Speaking of swelling, it's normal not to have swelling that's exactly the same on both sides. I always say if you're going to break both of your arms, they're not going to heal at exactly the same rate. One will heal more quickly than the other, and it's the same thing with filler. It's very uncommon, but if you hate your dermal filler, or if there's a problem with it, you can take it out. If it's hyaluronic acid dermal filler, you just inject an enzyme into the region called hyalase, and that will break it down. This is not the case for Botox, Elance, Sculptra, or Radiesse. One of the things that as injectors we get really worried about and really scared about is something called vascular occlusion, which is where dermal filler is inadvertently injected inside an artery or a vein inside the face. Now, of course, we don't know exactly where all the arteries and veins are, so there are things that we do to try to minimize this risk, such as aspirating before an injection, in certain areas use of a cannula, and avoiding any spots which are particularly high risk. You may have seen on Instagram or YouTube certain injectors using an ultrasound machine. This could potentially be quite useful if you're looking to locate an artery prior to injection, or if you're using the Doppler effect to assess whether or not a particular artery has been affected by a dermal filler injection. However, I can't see that you could use it at the same time as performing the injection. I have tried. Just to give you some examples, not to scare you, of what it looks like when you have a vascular occlusion. These are just from a couple of online papers. As you can see in the second set of images, it does look quite nasty. However, if this was caught right at the beginning, so say within the first 48 hours after treatment, this necrosis would not have occurred. So actually, even if you do get a blocked blood vessel, it's not a big deal as long as you manage to remove all the filler using the hyalase. The other super rare complication which strikes fear into the heart of every injector and patient is of course blindness. You can check out another video that I made on this topic with a couple of oculoplastic surgeons. Something else that a lot of people don't know about filler is that it can flare up again if you become unwell. Say you have food poisoning, you get cystitis, you get some weird cyst elsewhere on your body. Anything at all that kickstarts your immune system can cause your body to react adversely to filler. This is not specific to filler, it also happens to breast implants, hip replacements, etc. And as you may have read, the COVID vaccine has done this, as has COVID itself. However, these things are normally self-limiting and do not normally need to be treated. Typically when the problem that's causing it has gone away, the filler swelling will go away as well. In very, very rare cases, the patient may need to have a course of steroids and antihistamines in order to settle everything down. However, it's not normally something that we need to remove the filler for. You may be interested to know that in my experience, some dermal filler brands are a bit more prone to causing this issue than others. However, I do still use parts of the range now because it doesn't apply to the whole range, it's just a few things. Also, Bellatero, I've not had one issue like that. Disclaimer, these are my opinions and this is stuff that's actually happened to me in my clinical practice, based on no scientific paper whatsoever, just what I've seen. Where do people decide to get fillers done for the first time, as in what area of the face do they get injected? Kind of depends. I think used to be a lot of lips for the younger crowd. What are the young people called these days? Gen Z or something? I don't know. Well, anyway, that group of people. Used to be a lot of lip fillers, maybe not so much anymore. I'd say now there's a lot more cheek and jawline fillers going on. For older patients, so maybe your late stage millennials and your Gen Xers who are having fillers done for the first time, really we need to take a much more full face approach. So they might be having Sculptra or Lanluma to improve the skin quality and replace the volume in the face before we then do fine detailing work using hyaluronic acid, for example, in the lip or around the eye. Not always though. So you can fill pretty much any area that you want on the body in some way, like literally anywhere, literally. Forehead, temple, eyebrow, under eye, A-frame, cheek, base of the nose, lips, upper lip, nose to mouth line, submalar region, jawline, chin, neck, décolleté, skin quality improving fillers, arms, regular fillers, hands, knees, outer labia, inside the vagina, butt fillers, foot fillers, gum fillers. That's a thing too. When I first got dermal filler done, when I was 26, I was actually a model for my friend at a training academy. And I got my lips done and my cheeks done. And let me tell you, I thought it looked amazing. I thought I was the absolute dogs, I'm telling you. But in retrospect, it actually looked really bad. So always go to professional, guys. Here's a picture. Just joking. Where did you get filler done for the first time? How did it go? Did it suck? Let us know in the comment section below.